Okay, so that's the end of part one. That's the why are we building it, who are we building it for, and now we're going to move on to the what are we building, how are we building it, how are we solving this problem. So let's dive in first of all to look at a specific example. So I've got a screenshot here of a customer booking page, but you'll see here it's got a very versatile input banner up here, which lets you define, if anybody was on the CBP talk last week, your pickup dates and times. If you're multi-location, your where, and this is your what. So it's a new drop down. You'll see this on the live demo shortly. And here I've specified repairs and maintenance. So that's a different type of service that we're selling online rather than alongside rental and demo. So you can see that I've got virtual inventory relating to the services that are being sold. Here a tune-up, here a safety verification. I know a lot of stores like to do bronze, silver, gold with different services that you do in the maintenance. So that's the shop window, if you like. That's how we're going about selling these multiple service offerings. And then let's dig in behind the scenes and see how we handle it in the back office. So what we've done is we've chopped it up into two main types of thing. So the service relates to the core underlying thing, the service that you're providing. So rental is obviously a close cousin of demos, rentals and demos, repairs and maintenance. Don't forget, this is of third-party bikes rather than repairs and maintenance of your rental fleet, which we do also. Tours, activities and events. That's an existing module we already have that covers anything that's sort of date related, and maybe not just date related, but certain types of equipment that go with them. Appointments. So for example, a bike fit or a sales, discussion. And then X rental, X demo sales. Now we do that, or we will be doing that rather, because we already handle your inventory. We already handle your inventory lifecycle. We already have like a for sale sign. It makes total sense for that to appear as another online channel for your X rental bikes, rather than having to create your own spreadsheet, publish it on your own website, and somehow keep it up to date. It makes total sense to have that as a new portal. So these are your 5 underlying services which we're enabling as we go throughout the year. We've already enabled the rental service. That's the thing that BRM always has been, and the repair service. And coming very soon, we'll be doing the appointment service for people who do bike fits. So that's the underlying service. And on top of that, you can then layer in up to 3 service offerings for each service. So for example, if you do rental, you might do bike rental, you might do ski rental. So that would be 2 offerings within the rental service. You might do rental bikes, you might do rental bike boxes. Okay, so they're, again, different examples of service offerings. Under the repair service, repairs and maintenance. But the nice thing about having a service offering is that you can call this whatever you want to. Okay, so not just, here's a one-to-one mapping between the service and the offering, but it allows you to name it whatever you want in as many languages as you go to market with. Okay, so that's how we structure this thing. Let's go and have a look at the hierarchy in a little bit more detail. So we start up here with, let's take rental, the service of rental. Underneath, an example of that is bike rental. And there may be a different kind of stream under this hierarchy of ski rental. But let's have a look down at the bike rental one. It then chops up into 2 different sides: the organizational capability of these service offerings and the functionality differences. So I touched on this earlier when we were discussing why we're building this. So organizationally, you want different inventory behind your rental and repairs. You want to segregate them accordingly to what job they're doing for people. Similarly, if it's bike and ski, you want to segregate them. So that's organizing your inventory. You want a CBP that recognizes that, what the customer is looking at, and it lets you publish multiple versions on your website. So going back to those example websites I showed you before, where people are offering bike and ski, you want one CBP that shows your bikes and another one that shows your skis, or one that shows your rentals and repairs virtual inventory. So that's organization down to the CBP level. And obviously all the resulting reservations need to be stamped with what channel they came in on. And as you go through at the back office and you navigate your reservations, you can search for particular types, you can filter for particular types, etc. And the other hugely important thing is functionality. So what you want to do is do different notifications for rental compared to repairs. Do different documents, we've already talked about, waivers, etc. Different workflows, different hours, offering control, booking slots. So that's the behaviors that relate to those things. So again, we get all the power of having one system, one BRM, and yet all the multiple different ways in which it can behave within the same system according to the different service that you're offering. Okay, so what exists already? So like I said, BRM has already been customer driven. We've built exactly what our customers tell us they need the system to do in order for them to be able to use our software well. So we already have built multiple service offerings. We rolled that out in January because that's the sort of foundation of what needs to exist. We don't want people having to have two BRMs when they can just have one and it can contain bike and ski. We already have the TAE module, Tours, Activities, Events, and a large number of our customers have been using that successfully for a number of years. We already have people using the Tour Activity and Event module in order to provide repair bookings, to take repair bookings. So again, people are already doing that, but we admit it's a bit disjointed. It's like one BRM, different module, and it's not particularly cohesive. So what we're doing is multiple offerings that already exists in rental, and you can do that. So there's already a number of stores doing this. I had a look around over the last week, and we've got a lot of people successfully using BRM to do multiple service offerings. And this is a free feature. You can have up to 3 different offerings per service, and it's a very useful way of you to chop up the different business you do. The TAE module will be rolled into multiple service offerings under the TAE service offering. Repairs has got its own offering as well. And then there's 2 more, which is appointment booking, which will be shortly released, and sale of ex-rental items. So in other words, a lot of the foundations already exist. We've now built the foundation of multiple service offerings, and now we're merging the 2 things over the next weeks and months so that there becomes a much more cohesive experience, much easier to set up, much easier to manage, and much easier for your customers to navigate and use. So let's go in. I'm going to show you the live demo shortly for 5 minutes, but let's just do some quick screenshots. So anybody who knows the inventory area of BRM will have seen that it's changed now. So it's not just one inventory, it's multiple inventories within the context of your service offerings. So you can here I've got we're looking at the rental inventory, and I can use that drop down and have a look at my repairs, or maybe my ski rental, my bike rental. And you can even get things to appear in multiple service offerings as well, which is super useful when we release the TAE module. You can have a bike that's independently available for rental, and it's also available in the context of a tour, activity, and event, but the thing can't be double booked because it's the same underlying inventory. So it can coexist in 2 different service offerings. Documents. So we're releasing this week. It's currently in QA, and hopefully later this week this will be live. So it allows you, instead of just having one waiver, one document per BRM, you can now have one of them for each of the different service offerings you have and each language that you have. So different combos. So you can have lots and lots of permutations of documents so that you can sell the right thing to the right person doing the right booking. The next one is launch appearance. So we discussed this last week. So when you fire up a BRM embedded in your website, how does it look? Does the date drop down? Is the date preset? Do you show categories? Do you show product? You can configure that now on a per service offering thing. What makes sense for rental, you might want a slightly different experience for repairs and maintenance. Now, the next most important thing we're doing, and something that's coming up in the development life cycle in the next few weeks, is what we call offering control. So if you go to market with rentals and demos, you can have different inventory that all exists today, different documents that all exist today, but you also may have different hours, okay, different booking slots according to the channel that you're in on. So we're currently building that, and that will be available. There'll be a drop down, and it will offer different time slots according to which service you're offering. Okay, so that'll be super important as well. So in terms of when is this being ready? Now, the reason we're demoing this now, the reason we've launched this year, as I've said, we know that building software is only half the battle. The other half is getting people to understand the direction we're headed in and getting our customers to refine it so that it does exactly what people need, not nearly what they need. So we built all the foundations: inventory, customer booking page, reservations, appearance, launch appearance, publishing by page offering. We're just releasing the documents, as I say, today. So this week, rather. So that'll be at least 5 out of 10, and including all the foundations. And don't forget, we've also built tours, activities, and events module. That already exists. It just needs to be ported over into this new context. So the next two things we're building are, as I say, offering control, letting you do different time slots according to the channel that's being booked, and language customization, also super important in the customer booking page. People want to specify really detailed text for their online booking, their customer booking page, and that text is going to be channel specific. So I want to say a specific set of wording for my retail customer, rental customers, and a different one set of wording for the repairs and demos. And that applies to the notifications that we send out and some of the documentation as well. So that's some of the detail which we're now finishing off in the coming weeks and months. But already a lot of this multiple service offering stuff, as I say, it's already viable. We already have people selling multiple service offerings, and it's only going to become more and more powerful over the coming weeks. So a word about pricing. So what we've done, a lot of what you'll understand that I'm saying here is that we've taken a previous system that could manage different things like bike and ski, tours, rentals, exactly, and events. It can manage these things, but perhaps the experience is a bit clunky. So we're unifying it all into one framework called multiple service offerings, so that it's much easier to set up, to manage, etc. We've done the same thing with our pricing. So we're now predominantly usage-based billing company, which is very much the industry standard. Now, don't worry, if you're a subscription customer, perhaps you've been with us multiple years, you won't be forced to go onto the usage-based billing. So don't worry, we have grandfathered your ability to stay with subscription. We're predominantly selling usage-based billing now. The advantage of usage-based billing is, like consolidating the functionality, it's consolidated everything. You get everything off the shelf included. Okay, so you don't have any inventory limits, gold, silver, etc. All optional modules like GBAL, multi-location are all included. Everything I've been talking about today, all of the services from rentals, demos, tours, activity, they're all included as well, and repairs and maintenance. You can use the booking fee feature, which we talked about last week. So you can set up a fee which you charge your customers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10%, whatever you want to do, and you keep that fee. So it's a way of offsetting some of the costs of using BRM and getting your customers to meet you halfway or exceed the payment as well, using the booking fee feature. And then obviously the other thing with usage-based billing is there's no upfront payment. You actually pay a month in arrears according to your usage, rather than subscription you pay in advance. Anyway, that, like I say, that's not mandatory, but while we're talking about multiple service offering, the optimal is to be on usage-based billing. Then you get access to any and all of the services that we offer. Okay, so now I'm going to do a quick demo for a few minutes just to show you some of these things live. And then if there's any questions, I'll move over to the questions section. Okay, so this is one of our dummy systems. So what you can see, it hasn't actually shared the URL, but what we've done here is we've given it a URL parameter to say, please land on the repairs and maintenance service. So if you look at the what here, you'll see that that is repairs and maintenance. Okay, so these are the different options. This particular bike shop is going to market, if you like, with 2 types of rental and repairs and maintenance. Now, but what I've done by specifying the URL parameter up here, which you can't see, I've said, please land on repairs and maintenance. So like I say, if you're a bike shop offering both, you can have this one on your repairs and maintenance page, and you can have a separate one on your rental page. So let's go through and do a rental. So maybe the customer doesn't want to change anything. They're going to add in some pickup dates. Now, again, you can specify these, and soon you'll be able to specify them very detailed on a per service offering basis. This is, again, this exists today within BRM. It has done for a number of years. This is virtual inventory. Okay, so it's like a tune-up. I'm going to add that. Crucially, you can use your per item customer data to ask useful questions. So I'm bringing my bike in for a tune-up. What kind of bike is it? Okay, let's say it's a Trek. I could ask what actual bike it is, bike model as well, but here just kept it simple. They can tell, the customer can tell me what the problem is. Bottom bracket broken. So these are detailed notes for dropping the bike off for repair service. Any add-on services. So there is a booking fee. It just happens on this particular store, entirely optional. I'm logged in already as a customer here, so it's remembered my information, and I can go ahead and make the booking. No tip. Again, entirely optional. So that's made the booking. So April 10, let's go and have a look in the back office and see what that looks like. So as you know, anyone who saw the planner meeting, we can go in and have a look at repairs, that reservations this week or recently created. And we're looking for this April 10 booking here. So it's for Stoddart. If we look in the product-based view, it's a tune-up. Okay, so we can go in and have a look at that. And here we can see these are the customer notes. And so all of this information comes through to the back office. And we can see what has been booked, and we can print that out. We can see the tune-up, booking fee, etc. has been applied, and that's the booking that's been made. Okay, so again, the nice thing is here that it's one system, one CRM, one set of inventory, and one place to manage everything in this shared planner. And in the planner, over the coming weeks and months, we'll be introducing more filters so that you can organize by service offering and underlying service as well. So let's go and have a look at slightly behind the scenes here, how we set all this up. So I told you that what we're doing is we're creating the Russian doll scenario. So lots of BRMs within BRM. So what do I mean by that? First of all, let's have a look at inventory. So in the inventory page, whereas previously we just showed you one inventory, we now show it to you per service offering, and you can change which service offering you're looking at here. So this store is also offering bike boxes under rental. So you can see it's part of the rental service, and the service offering is called bike rental, and it has this specific inventory. Similarly, I can go in here and have a look at my repairs and maintenance. And again, you can have as many categories, as many products as you like. The number of capacity relates to how many you can take concurrently. If I just had one, then it would only allow me one concurrent booking, but you can have multiple as well. So let's have a look now, moving on to different parts of the system. And then don't worry, the demo, this bit is only going to take another couple of minutes. So I just want to show people quickly. If anybody has any detailed stuff in order to set this up, we'll be very happy to go through it on more of a one-to-one basis. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour. So if I go to the customer booking page in here, then I can see the publish page. So the publishing page is all about how do you put it onto your website. So for example, I can show me the publish page, which is this is the data that you cut and paste in per service offering. Okay, so here's what it looks like to embed the bike box rental. Here's what it looks like for the repairs and maintenance, etc. And then there's the link if you want the direct link. So you can automatically generate the publish, the embed code. Let's have a look at another thing, the launch appearance. So again, how do you want the dates to behave when you first arrive? You can specify that on a per service offering basis. So all these, again, coming back to this concept of BRMs within BRMs, all of the behavior that previously has been global to BRM is now available and increasingly becoming available at the service offering level. Let's go and have a look at another thing. So the documents. So this is the other thing I wanted to show you here. The service offering management page. So you define which of the 5 core services you have available. Like I say, appointments is coming soon, and then the TAE probably a few weeks after that. And then within there, you define the different service offerings that you have available. Okay, let me just check if there's anything else I want to talk about on this section. And then if not, we'll move back to the discussion to have some questions. Yeah, and this is really just important to say that when I talked previously about the stack, so everything we've created within BRM in the last 15 years that allows you to do a fantastic rental service like extras and add-ons, all of these different configurable options that you have, they can now be leveraged across all the different channels. So the per item customer data, do you do delivery? Everything that we have as a feature is then multiplied by being useful across multiple different ones. So really that's the main takeaway here, is that increasingly within BRM, you're going to see this service offering drop down as a component. When you see that, what it means is that you can have that behavior or organization on a per service offering level. And that's super useful because then it means that you can deliver a really bespoke service and then all of your reservations come into the same place.